The Daily Wire's Michael Knowles, after getting suspended for YouTube for having the nerve, the gall, the cojones, the chutzpah to say that men are men and women are women?
He ain't lying.
That Dylan Mulvaney is retarded? Fuck! YouTube's response, their reasoning, it's all about hate. How dare you? I'm Jasper Gonzo, and this is What's Next. Hello everyone, Jasper Gonzo, What's Next, your humble host. Hope you guys are doing well on this Thursday. Talk about Daily Wire. No, we're not here to talk about Matt Walsh, the patriarch, the savage himself, or talk about Ben Shapiro. We're talking about another member of the Daily Wire crew, and that is one Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles, who has a huge following on YouTube and Rumble, who is a devout Catholic, who speaks in common sense. Check him out sometime. He got suspended from YouTube for a week. Why? Because he had the balls. For those who say men can be women, delusional. And of course, YouTube said, what are you talking about, my guy? That's hater speech. That is just hate. How dare you? And of course, Michael Knowles is sticking to his guns, as he should. Let's take a look. This comes out of Post Millennial. YouTube defends banning Michael Knowles for saying it's delusional to think men can be women. The opinion for which YouTube banned me this week was not only true, but also commonly held, Knowles argued. On Tuesday, Daily Wire host Michael Knowles broke down the multifaceted reasoning behind YouTube's decision to serve him a one-week suspension. Knowles explained that according to YouTube, a number of his videos discussing topics related to far-left gender ideology contained, quote, haterade. The content cited by the platform included calling idea that men can be women delusional, referring to the notorious trans TikToker himself, Dylan Mulvaney, who now seems to think he's lesbian right now, as he, and pointing out that F.S. Levi Baphomet was androgynous. Yes. Satan. Michael Knowles. YouTube is now suspended. Why I was banned has explained to me, why I was banned from the platform the other week. Let's take a look. I described the notion of men can be women as delusional. According to YouTube, this opinion, which has been held by virtually every person who has ever lived, implies that some groups are mentally inferior and thus constitutes, quote unquote, hate speech.
LA is notoriously soft on crime. George Soros funded women to have their own bathrooms. If you think women ought to be able to have their own locker rooms and not have to look at gigantic, gross men while little girls are getting changed, if you want any of those things, you have to ban transgenderism entirely. It's not enough to say, well, you have to wait until you're 12 or whatever people are saying now. It has to be the whole thing, because if men have the right to behave as women and identify as women for the purposes of public life, then women can't have their own spaces. And we as a society cannot have our own standards and norms.
According to Knowles, YouTube argued that by calling the notion that men can be women delusional, he had implied that some groups are mentally inferior. Well, those who think that they can become women who are dudes? Yeah, I agree. And thus was guilty of hate speech. The podcaster highlighted the absurdity of YouTube's claim by noting that his opinion had been held by virtually every person who has ever lived. I discussed how one might hypothetically respond to a loved one who has fallen under the sway of the transanity. YouTube claims that suggestion of this hypothetical loved one might have some psychological problems constitute as hate speech. Of course, the belief is that one opposite sex itself is a mental illness involving a defect of a perception, but transgender identity also correlates with a whole host of mental disorders such as anxiety, anorexia, depression, suicidal, among others. Another clip that Knowles got temporarily barred from the platform was which he discussed how one might hypothetically respond to a loved one who has fallen under a sway. Of course, I just read that. I referred to Dylan Mulvaney as a man. He, in the proper use of the English language, which YouTube called misgendering, of course they did, apparently constitutes as hate speech under the new rules. And finally, the strangest complaint I received that YouTube claimed that my description of Levi's Baphomet constituted hate speech because I pointed out that the French occultist depiction of a demon is androgynous. Knowles continued down his laundry list of hate speech allegations, including the misgendering of Mulvaney and the strangest complaint of them all, of course, we just read regarding Levi's demon. The opinion for which YouTube banned me this week was not only true, but also commonly held, Knowles argued. It's the view of Christianity, Judaism, Islam. It's the view of philosophers and biologists. And today, if you state that view on YouTube, you could be banned for hate speech. The Daily Wire host received numerous replies on Twitter from fans showing their support, with many suggesting that he should drop YouTube and go straight to Rumble, which of course his videos are on Rumble. My thoughts. Again, YouTube with their haterade. They got that, they got that cup of haterade and they're just swigging it down, the Kool-Aid, the Jim Jones, and, men are men and women are women. Hate! Women can't be men. Hate! Dylan Mulvaney's mentally ill. Hate! Satan is androgynous. Hate! Satan is androgynous. It's more stupidity. It's more idiocy. And you should expect nothing less. YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram. Look how long it took them. Look how long it took YouTube to basically drop their rule in regards to the fraudulence, the Fraudenschneid of 2020. It was just the other day. They just dropped it. But God forbid if you call out facts based on faith, biology, common sense, that men can't be women because men have balls and peepees, well, that's a problem. Oof. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this, please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. And we'll see you next time. Peace.